Aloha, and thank you for watching Hawaii Cannabis TV. I want to thank the viewers, and I want to thank our lawmakers, patients, and other advocates for sharing their stories and helping educate our viewers. This year, I'm happy to announce that several cannabis-related bills were passed by the Hawaii Legislature. HB 1383 deals with the decriminalization of 3 grams or less of marijuana. Once the bill is approved, it will be a $130 fine or citation with no risk of arrest. HB 290 makes it clear in Hawaii state law that a medical cannabis patient can transport their medicine on inter-island flights. And Senate Bill 1353 will expand our hemp industry. This is a measure introduced by Senator Gabbard, and you will be hearing more about it on this show.
So after many years of realizing that I suffer from PTSD and depression and also lower back pains, I decided to step into my psychiatrist's office and seek help for those mental issues. And he really highly suggested medical marijuana. And at the time, I was on a schedule of physical therapy along with other alternative methods like yoga for my back, and I thought, why not? I already have a bad back. I have a mind that needs fixing, so why not sign up for my medical marijuana card? So I did, and the moment I got it, I walked into NOAA dispensaries, and the sign up was super easy. Everyone is so friendly. There's no stigma behind it at all, and everyone was so friendly in helping me guide me to the best forms of medical marijuana for my back pain, for my mental pain, and whether showed me different methods, whether I wanted to smoke it, vape it, ingest it. There are so many options for me to alleviate my mental symptoms and my bad back symptoms. And I went home, took a puff, and what it really helped me do was become centered and able to think about my issues and really help myself at the core.
Well, I was a heroin user for over a decade of my life, and when I decided to try something new in my life, I turned to cannabis to help me with my withdrawal symptoms, and I had a really difficult time like learning how to sleep again after that, and just dealing with life, learning how to live life sober. It was a it's a very eye-opening experience, and it changes a lot of the perceptions and things that you had about the world and about yourself. And it allowed me to be able to start feeling more connected to people again.
It looks like we're seeing you today for pain.
Yes.
And how long have you had this pain?
Off and on since I was 13.
Since you were 13, and where is your pain located?
It's located in my abdominal area for the most part.
Abdominal, okay. And do you have this pain all the time, or does it come and go?
Quite often sometimes, but it comes and goes.
Okay. And so when do you typically have this pain?
My menstrual periods, having intercourse, those things are very painful.
Okay. And what have you used in the past to help with this pain?
Helps my pain. Sometimes I'll take different medications, pharmaceutical medications. I've also just massage and resting is and heat
Okay.
have helped.
Describe the way this pain feels. Is it like achy, dull, sharp?
It's very achy. There's a lot of sharp pains. It leaves me to where I can't, walk sometimes.
And on a scale of 1 to 10, when you have the pain, what would you rate it at?
It's different. Sometimes it'll be like an 8, and then other times it'll only be like a 4.
And you've used inhaled methods?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, and then you've used some topicals as well?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, and inhaled methods are really great when it comes to dysmenorrhea, endometriosis, or period pain because you get the relief right away. Because, in Hawaii, we have a limited kind of part products. So our cannabis oils, it's just cannabis and olive oil or cannabis and coconut oil. Those are safe to use. For CBD, I actually recommend capsules as opposed to oils. And the main reason I recommend that is because CBD is very sticky. And so it tends to stick to the outside bottles of the oil. So there's 4 main methods: inhalation, ingestion, topical, and sublingual or alcohol glycerin-based products. For you, I would actually recommend a combination of all 4. So inhalation, when you're having those really bad pain days, because you feel the relief right away. Ingestion, kind of low dose daily to prime your endocannabinoid system. And topical, I would recommend topical, actually vaginal suppositories for when you have intercourse to kind of help with that. And then sublingual or alcohol glycerin products, basically for the same reason that you would use an inhaled product when you need that kind of immediate release.
I want to talk about the benefits I've had from the 329 card here in Hawaii. It really helped me because I am so sensitive to any type of medication. Due to not having a gallbladder, I cannot take pills at all. So when I injured myself with the 3rd grade sprain and a fracture, this was the only thing that could help me. I tried to take the very potent medicine that the doctor prescribed to me, and it made me incredibly sick, nauseous, throw up, and basically just fall asleep. I was often prescribed anti-anxiety medication, and I just feared that so much, to put a foreign compound or substance in my body. And hearing the people talk about the side effects, I mean, it's worse than the actual ailment that you had to begin with, and that's just not a risk that I'm willing to take. So not only does that help with anxiety, not having to take all of those horrible pills for my body also helps with anxiety too, to know that there is a more natural form out there that nature intended, instead of pharmaceutical companies, and you don't know the expiration dates, what could have been contaminated, and it's just a healthier choice for me. Menstrual cramps, I used to have the worst cramps where I would always have to call in sick to work. It would literally just take a whole day away from my life every month. And now this just helps to deal with that. I can work, I can function.
We're a third-party testing laboratory for medical cannabis in the state of Hawaii. Part of the regulations governing medical cannabis in Hawaii is all the product that's sold on the shelf has to be tested by a third-party independent laboratory. And so Steep Hill, Hawaii is the premier laboratory in all the islands of Hawaii. We test for all the dispensaries on all the islands, and we are the only laboratory in Hawaii that's certified by the Department of Health to test for all the products that are legally sold in the dispensary system. The limit for hemp is 0.3%. It's an arbitrary number, but that's the number that everybody goes by. And so you have to grow your plant, test it, and if it's above that 3.3% level, you have to destroy the whole crop. Cannabis was bred to increase the THC content. That's what we've been doing for the past 30 years, right? And so it's just been the past few years where people have been going the other way, trying to just have a high CBD content in there. The Department of Agriculture only has approved certain strains and seeds to be planted that are acceptable for the state of Hawaii. So the licensees are, trying to navigate through those waters to get a strain that they can produce a reasonable amount of CBD and still be in compliance with the regulation of 0.3% THC. There were several circumstances where people were trying to get medicine to their children, right? And they wanted to do it legally. They wanted to understand the dosage that they were giving their children. And this is for children with seizure problems, children with some ADHD, maybe some autistic issues, right? That the pharmaceutical drugs, it just creates all these side effects for them. So the parents are looking for an alternative. How can I help my child without giving all these drugs, all these side effects that turn my child into a zombie? And so, with the creation of the cannabis industry and the dispensary system, and with the laboratory able to certify those products as medical grade, and also quantify how much THC was in there so you know what you're giving to your child, these parents that have these issues with their children can now go to the dispensary and get medicine for their child and be confident that what they're giving their child is really medicine, not just something that's contaminated or who knows what's in it's off the street, and they can control their dosage.
Hemp, hemp hooray, hemp, hemp hooray, hemp, hemp hooray for Hawaii. Hemp, hemp hooray, hemp, hemp hooray, hemp, hemp hooray, aloha.
We have 17 farmers statewide right now who are growing hemp on 117 acres. And so very happy to have that going. And as far as where we're going in the future, what I've said from the very beginning, that hemp in Hawaii, my vision has been for a cottage industry, selling, there's over 25,000 products using hemp. And I've got a few of them right in my briefcase here, made out of hemp. And here, you've got hemp and chia coconut, you've got hemp protein powder, here's hemp protein smoothie, hemp seed bars, toasted seed, hemp tinctures, hemp heart toppers, CBD tincture, all of these. What's missing from these right now is the Hawaii label. And that has been my vision from the very beginning, is the Hawaii label, with the hula girl on the label and the guy strumming his ukulele underneath the coconut tree. So as the chair of the Agriculture Environment Committee, having finished my third year, one of the major problems we have is that we continue to spend $3 billion every year importing 85 to 90% of our food. And while the governor has made a goal of doubling our local food production by 2020, which we all know that's not going to happen, but at least the bar is there, the standard is there, and that's a good thing. But so what do we do about that? It's not that we don't have enough land. I'm told by the Department of Ag we have over 800,000 acres of ag land that's not in production. So what do we do? what the problem is, we need farmers. And until we start attracting, whether it's young people or anyone, into the farming profession, we're not going to be able to solve that problem. Being a farmer is noble. The fact that you're feeding all of the people here and we're not having to bring in and waste all this money bringing in all this food from other places. So, and it's one thing that we as who live here in Hawaii, who live here in paradise, that we have in common with the 9 million tourists that visit us every year. We all eat. So if we can somehow start building on what we have and attracting more people into the farming profession, that would make me very happy. Because Epidiolex is the only federally approved medicine, for example, that has CBD in it, that's all that, so that's all that's approved. And I heard from someone that stores are now being asked to take anything that has CBD off of their shelves. That's happening right now. And I would assume that after that press release from the Department of Health is circulated and is made public, that's going to continue to happen. So it's an issue that we need to sit down and try to figure out, talk to our congressional delegation and have the state involved in this process as well on what we can do to deal with this particular issue. And I think it's time that adults have the opportunity and can make the choice to, if they want to use this recreational cannabis, that they should have that choice. I know my daughter, Tulsi, Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, agrees that she's been trying at the national level, and we'll see what happens.
We provide smoking accessories for medical cannabis patients. We also focus on something called dabbing or vaporizing. It's a lot healthier than conventional smoking. So that's a great benefit that a lot of patients can take advantage of. Free, we also have full spectrum products which contain other cannabinoids that help enhance the effects of CBD. We have everything from gummy candies, tinctures, pills, lotions. We really look forward to working closely with the hemp farmers here in Hawaii. We look forward to creating a new industry that will really help create a sustainable environment here in Hawaii around the hemp plant.
Don't get confused with that word minority. That word is about people that are Black, Hispanic, Latina, Pacific Islander, Asian, all coming together, and along with people who are non-people of color, POCs, and us just coming together and making a lot of things happen, and this is the opportunity to do that here in Hawaii.
We're definitely heading towards adult use. So at least, do something CBD now.
Right. Cannabis training and scholarships. That's with the other states that right now, they are adult use. Here in Hawaii, I wanted to do something before that even happens, where we're adult use, where we're going to, I just want to do it beforehand because of a situation that occurred, at a particular facility, and I felt like it's a need to make sure that never happens again. I feel like we're going to become adult use. It's going to happen. And when it happens, I want there to be various organizations that people are able to contact.
How can I get involved? Because right now with the vertical market, people see it as a limitation, like, oh, there's no way, there's not an opportunity for me.
So we all have to come together and just make this industry happen.
In 2014, the leading cause of accidental death was from prescription drugs. There's an emerging view that cannabis can be used as an exit drug from opiate addiction. And in Hawaii, we have a large number of veterans. Veterans are 2 times more likely to die from accidental overdosing on these meds. We passed a bill last year to add to the list of qualifying conditions. We wanted people who had substance use disorders, opiate addictions, or were suffering the withdrawal symptoms from them to be able to use cannabis. We got it passed through the House, we got it passed through the Senate in the full floor vote. The governor vetoed our bill. States that have medical cannabis programs that also had dispensaries attached to them were seeing lower rates of opioid overdoses to the tune of like 24.8%, so almost 25% reduction. And that reduction continued to decrease up to 33% in California. We should consider changing drug laws to allow for medical cannabis if the overdose rate decrease is substantiated in other studies, which it was, again in 2016 and 2017. So, but I don't think there was any real follow-up to that. In 2016, in the Journal of Pain from the University of Michigan, they found that cannabis reduced the use of opiates on an average of 64%, decreased side effects from other medications, and improved quality of life. 2017 Canadian survey. I love this one. Use of cannabis as a substitute for prescription drugs. 63% of the people who responded to this said, yes, I'm using cannabis in place of some other prescription drug. And cannabis could replace up to about 60% of the pharmaceutical drugs that we have on the market. It reduced the use of opioids by 30%, benzodiazepine 16%, alcohol 25%. That's my favorite one. I think we could do with a reduction of alcohol use.
I felt that it was important that I come in and help everyone to understand why this is so important to me. So, prior to 2017, as a veteran, I was highly medicated. I was given over 28 different types of medication. I was prescribed 85 pills a day. I was using a walker and I weighed about 225 pounds. Now I take no medications that are pharmaceutical. I use only herbal and natural medications, bath soaks, things like that. All this stuff that you think is more for luxury than health. I began an organization, a 501c nonprofit called the Hawaii Veterans Cannabis Alliance. After running that for a few years, I met a man who I plan to spend the rest of my life with. Last year, less than 6 weeks before we were to get married, he took his own life while under the influence of Klonopin. He had been taking a prescription for over 6 months, and I had been with him to doctor's visits, advising them of side effects he was having that we honestly thought were symptoms of other problems. And in over 6 months, the doctor did nothing but increase his medication because they didn't understand that what they were giving him was creating the problem. After his death in July of 2018, I found him in our closet when I came home from for the night. Pills in the house. He had hung himself while cooking dinner and washing laundry. But the Klonopin had been giving him delusions and paranoid behaviors. I truthfully think that he didn't understand that what he was doing was permanent. He left a note only to me, and I know he had far many things to say to a lot of people. And that kind of rekindled the fire that had dimmed in me a little bit while I was happy. So now I'm back to make sure that people don't feel stigmatized out of finding help for this, number one. And I think that that's a huge step that comes with decriminalization, is this understanding that this is a plant and that it's not a dangerous substance like we've been brainwashed to think. For a lot of people like me,
this fight is very real, and the danger of pharmaceutical chemicals is very real. And honestly, we have doctors that don't know the side effects of the medicine they're giving us. I told the doctor that he was hearing voices and seeing delusions, and when I looked up the medicine after he died, you can Google it. It's a side effect of the medicine. He lost 45 pounds in 3 months because of the medicine. And all of those things we were talking to his doctor about, and the doctor told him it was in his head. So I think we're missing a huge and crucial part of this problem, which is that doctors no longer have a thorough understanding of the medicines they're giving us. And what results from that is a very dangerous environment where people are committing suicide and overdosing on medication and becoming addicted to opioids and becoming addicted to methamphetamines. And all of those things we've recognized as being problems of epidemic proportions. And a couple plants, a couple seeds in the ground could help us solve a lot of these issues and help a lot of people that just need an opioid addict. They started becoming an opioid addict because they were in pain. If we can give them a plant that takes away that pain and eases their transition out of that addiction, we should do that. I think that that's a humanitarian obligation.